Welcome to the Parks, Art, Education, Equality Subcommittee. Today is May 16th, 2018. I'm calling this meeting to order. Item number one is minutes from the previous meetings. Do I have a motion for approval?
I move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Motion passes. I skipped call to the public, and I have Jerry Van Gass.
Hi, Jerry Van Gass, 4610 East Via Estrella. I was flying back yesterday from Michigan. I went back to see my mother for Mother's Day, and I was reflecting that it was almost May 27th, 2015, at this meeting, subcommittee, that we basically, subsequent to that meeting, Inger was basically appointed as the new director of the park system. And, since then, the accomplishments have been pretty impressive. I was just reflecting on them. That, we're at the big point at that time was, rangers, restoring the number of rangers. We've done that to pre-recession levels. We've also restored flatland rangers, and there's more on the way. We've done major renovations are ongoing at Piestewa, Phoenix Mountain Parks, South Mountain, North Mountain, and Papago. We've got more dog parks open to meet public demand. New vehicles have been added. Camelback Mountain is dog-free. We've got win-win contracts with Lost Lake Music Festival at Steele Indian School Park, with the San Francisco Giants at Papago Park. We've opened the visitor center right up here at Steele Indian School Park, which is a major, it's been long overdue. And coincidentally, that we've now started the repayment of the $15 million golf course taking back to 3PI money, which will be put to good use. But the more major projects are ongoing here in Phoenix than any municipality in the country. A lot of national parks and monuments would love to have our funding source. 3PI is unique pretty much in the country. Employee morale's improved. And we've got a vision going forward, and it's being enacted. So, I'd love to see Phoenix as the benchmark park system in the country that other cities look to as an example. And we're headed that way. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry. Thank you for your advocacy, because I think in certain areas, if you hadn't pushed, we wouldn't have moved a little bit, but we moved and made sure that it happened. So thank you so much for your advocacy. Items 2 through 7, they're consent. Does anybody have any item that you want to pull, or do I have a motion?
I will move for the consent.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and I have a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Items 8 through 9 are for information only. You guys need any information? Okay. Item 10 is 2018 through 2023 Public Art Program.
Good morning. Gail Brown with the Office of Arts and Culture. I'm here with Ed Lebo, our Public Art Director, to give you some of the highlights of our 2018-2023 Public Art Plan.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the council. Am I on here? I am now. As Gail said, this is the 2018 through 23 Public Art Plan. And just very brief overview, the Public Art Program dates back to 1986, and it's funded with a penny out of every buck the city spends on capital programming. The projects have to be at or near city capital sites, and the funds really have to be used for capital purposes. But I wanted to share with you that the central idea of this program, going back more than 30 years, is that our city is a work of art in itself. We plan, we design, we build every aspect of it to improve our lives and the quality of lives of residents of Phoenix and visitors here. So it's taken a wide range of forms. Standard overpasses have been transformed into these different kinds of overpasses and underpasses throughout the city to create landmarks in our urban fabric. Standard bridges have also been transformed into very unique kind of destinations along the freeways. Clicker. Obviously, we know some of these beautiful structures, and also the structures aren't standing there alone. They're also considered as part of streetscapes up along SR 51, unique ways for engineers and artists to work together to develop these structures out of very simple materials and durable materials, quite frankly. Down in Ahwatukee, there's this beautiful bridge that Al Price worked with SVR Engineering. And again, what's interesting about this bridge is that this connects a community to a school. So every morning as kids cross this bridge, they get a lesson, a real-life lesson in how geometry applies to structures in the world. The community came to us many years ago through the council office and said, look, can you help to improve this stretch? The result was the Little Canyon Trail, a tree-lined stretch along 31st Avenue. Shade is a very big deal as we sort of look to heat and its impact on our connectivity and the comfort and safety of our streets and public spaces. We've been looking at ways for artists to work with engineers to bring in new shade structures throughout the city on our streetscapes and also in our parks. That is also extended to some of our transit facilities. This is part of the Ed Pastor project, and it brought great beauty to that area along McDowell Road around 34th Avenue. Artists have worked to develop transit structures or transit centers citywide, bringing new shade and new comfort and beauty to these facilities. And also parks. We've worked closely with the Parks Department over many years to try and improve these beautiful facilities in the community and provide places for people to walk, to enjoy, and to really thrive. Click. There we go. Pueblo Grande is another entrance. This was, this is the only historic landmark in the city of Phoenix. This was the pedestrian entrance to that site a number of years back. And this is what it became with a beautiful tree-lined corridor through the space to the museum itself. These corridors or connectors are really key, I think, in our world because getting from point A to point B in a city is really crucial. And so at the airport, for instance, at the Terminal 3 SkyTrain connector, yes, this is Janelle Stanley's work. Did you have a thought?
I did. So this is the train connecting.
This is at Terminal 3, and this is the bridge that connects the terminal to the SkyTrain station.
So the reason why I'm stopping is because I'm looking at how wide that space is.
You can do remarkable
And-
things with a wide-angle lens.
Well, yes, but I'm where my mind went to, how wide it is we could do interactive art exhibits, I guess is what I'm thinking, very similar to San Francisco. And so San Francisco, when I was there on my way to Chengdu, they had an interactive art display where from one end to the other, I had time and was able then to sit and read about the radios and how they modernized and how they moved. So it just triggered me. So that's why I was asking where that was.
No, and
Thank
that's
you.
a great thought. And the Phoenix Airport Museum has a great program of developing displays and a wide range of things throughout the airport. And that's included in some of the Terminal 3, the new Terminal 3 modernization. That's a great thought. And you know all of these terrazzo projects, all of the point I would like to make on these is that these were all new artists to public art, studio artists who had never been given an opportunity to work on this scale. And it's an extraordinary way for artists to jump out of their studios in a big way into public art and really to add to the function of our and feel of our facilities. Fausto Fernandez again, this is 44th Street Station. Daniel Mayer, this is the bridge to T4. Again, and what I would say is that in projects that we've completed just in the last year, this emphasis on how to improve our infrastructure has been a driving force. This was the Deer Valley Water Treatment Plant wall and streetscape before the community came to us through the council office and said, look, can you help us with this? And we worked with our partners at Water, and this was the result. And it wasn't just improving the wall, but it was also looking at the streetscape as a whole and including a bus shelter that was themed for the water. In this case, the artist worked with the high school nearby to develop phrases and words based on water for this project. Shade, again, is a big issue. Gimme Shelter downtown brought new shade, narrowed a street, added trees to Pierce Street near the downtown market. And up along North 32nd Street, Ann Morton's project brought these beautiful distinctive hands to the poles along North 32nd. And all of these hands were tracings of community members' hands. So there was great interactivity there. And the other project that was completed in the past year is the Story Days project. It was a National Endowment for the Arts collaborative partnership with ASU, Dunbar School, and it was led by this state poet laureate Alberto Rios to bring ideas and all kinds of things to the community. And then, of course, the Avenida Rio Salado and Hayden Park project, which we dedicated just this last year, brought seating areas and trees to a beautiful extension of that park as well. So moving forward in this plan, which you have, there are 5 new projects and 25 continuing projects. The total is about $12.1 million. I just wanted to highlight some of the projects and some of the partner departments that we're working on. Obviously, the SkyTrain and the airport are significant projects. This is the work in progress for the T3 South Concourse Bridge. Again, an artist doing terrazzo that will become part of the public space there. This is the North Concourse Bridge, and when it's all said and done in the years to come, this will be how it appears and feels for people using this facility. Right now, we have 2 new artists to public art, Frank Gonzalez designing the floors for the 24th Street SkyTrain station. Bill Dambrova is designing floors for the rental car facility station. And we also have Roberto and Rosario Marquardt designing this really beautiful weather screen and fence. And the thing that for the rental car facility station, the thing I would emphasize is that a lot of the work that gets done is really functional. It adds to the function and beauty of the facilities that we have in the city. The other thing that I would say is in working with the water department going forward, there's $1 million in this art plan to continue the community well site improvements that we've done. This is an example of what a well site was at 55th and Edgemont. Before the artists got involved, this was the design that is right now in construction, and that's all going really beautifully. This is a current condition, a site in Sunny Slope in District 3 on the border of District 6 and the border of District 3. This is the current condition, but this is what will evolve there thanks to the contract approval that you just gave a little bit earlier. So it turns these spaces into more livable, more beautiful. It also adds trees, which we know can bring down the temperature in a setting 35 to 40 degrees on a bad day in the summer. And that's really key, I think, to everybody in our city. The Daniel Mayer contract that you recently approved, this will add a new distinctive gateway up along I-17 at Happy Valley Road. Very durable materials of metal and anodized metal. And then out on 107th Avenue, another contract that you just approved on consent. This is the stretch there. This is what it will become, and because the community was so interested in Luke Air Force Base and flying, they wanted the artists to develop these shade structures that paid homage to the trails, vapor trails of jets as they move along. The other thing that's in the art plan is that we're mindful of maintenance and how we can use capital programming wherever possible to do some major retrofits. Right now we're working with SRP to retrofit this shade structure as part of the Arizona Falls project, which is really a beautiful destination along the canal system. So overall, one of the goals of the Arts Commission is to have more than 55% of artists involved in the program local. Right now, there are 28 of 30 projects in the art plan that will result in commissioning artists. And in looking at the plan, since most of the projects are continuing, we expect 18 of those, about 64%, to involve Arizona artists and designers. And that could certainly go higher as selections occur. The other thing that, I've stressed over the years, but it's a real factor here, is that we pride ourselves as a city in making things right here in Arizona and tapping local contractors and fabricators to do the work. The Avenida project and Hayden Park project, you had 4 different local firms, Kiewit, TPAC, Cornegay, and Ace Sandblasting. So the work and funding that goes through the public art program engages our construction trades and fabrication trades in a way that is really very significant and gives them a role in making this city a unique and beautiful place. The North 32nd Street project is really interesting. This began with the idea of all the butterflies that glom to trees as part of their migration. And Ann Morton said, well, let's look at those butterflies as hands, and then let's trace the hands of the community to make them part of this project. Obviously, there needs to be a fabricator as part of this. And this is what the fabricator tallied for us, is there are 23 different sets of workers who had literally their hands and physically their hands involved in building these projects. And they were built right here in Phoenix. And the one thing I would stress is that the Haddad and Drugan contract that you just approved for 107th Avenue, those artists are out-of-town artists, but they're looking to local fabricators, Magnum companies on the west side, to actually build their work. So more than $290,000 of that $380,000 contract is going to stay right here. And over the years, we've seen that about 82% of all the contracting and funding that occurs through our program goes right back into our local fabrication and construction trades. And with that, I've sped through this, but I'll be happy to take questions or comments.
I have a question.
Yes.
It's where the is it Williams Airport or is it?
107th Avenue?
Yes. Can you go back to that slide?
Oops, that one there?
The next one.
So that is supposed to provide shade.
Is
And
it-
I don't see how it provides shade. So, or if they're gonna put a canopy, I don't see where a shade's going to be provided for that bench.
It's a really good question. It's something that the Arts Commission has discussed as well. The one thing that I neglected to include in this presentation, for brevity's sake, is the outline of the sort of the foot plan of where these structures go. They're going to be concentrated in a way that it won't just be one standing alone, but there will be several. And we'll be talking to the artists about increasing the amount of petals so that we get more
Or
shade.
the petals be big, so that they provide shade. I don't know.
For more
But-
volume.
But I guess I would like to see that.
It's a good point.
Once it's developed in the sense of the renderings. I know this is part of some of the renderings, but I'm hearing you're going to go back to the artist and speak about how there will be more shade provided.
We will provide that to them,
Okay.
and that's been part of the discussion.
The other question in all of what we're doing, because I think we're doing great work, is there a maintenance budget for all these projects?
The answer is yes. Thanks to council, we have, well, I think it'll be, right now we have $84,000 for maintenance costs. But in the airport projects, the airport assumes maintenance of all the works that get done. And working with our partners at Water, the Water Department will be maintaining the works that get done on their community well sites. And the other piece to this is that as designs come forward, we kind of hammer the teams and the artists to develop concepts that are durable.
Mhm.
And that's why you see a lot of what comes before you as metal and powder-coated steel and galvanized steel. So those are the ways we try to address that.
Okay, because my understanding is that the 84,000 is not enough for all the maintenance around all the artwork we currently have.
That is absolutely true. You'll recall that during the recession, the amount of funding for maintenance really declined because maintenance funds come out of the general fund. And so as everything shrunk in the city, so did maintenance. But that is building back up now.
And
So,
what was it during pre-recession?
well, pre-recession, it was in the 70s. And
Okay.
so there's been an increase in recent years, but during the recession, it dropped into the 20s.
Okay.
So we had at one point $29,000 to care for about 200 major works citywide.
For me, I think it's very critical to maintain our artwork. I know we've neglected it, so now it's probably going to cost more in order to get it to where it needs to get to. But if we're going to invest in artwork, then we need to have a maintenance budget in order for us to maintain our artwork. And even if we don't add anymore, we still need a maintenance budget to keep our artwork vibrant. So that's why I'm asking these questions.
Yeah.
Just like anything, our maintenance of buildings, maintenance of police officers and firefighters, all of that. So thank you for your presentation.
appreciate
I appreciate it. Councilman Nowakowski.
I just want to applaud you for the participation of local firms and construction companies, and 23 of the projects are Arizona artists. I was just wondering, in the future, can you bring to us a plan on how to bring more of our local artists, if it's preparing them for the RFPs that are coming up, to inform them on how to fill them out? Or I know that when I attend dinners and different art gatherings, we're always approached, I'm pretty sure all of my colleagues are approached, that we're always encouraging people to shop Phoenix, but when it comes to allocating the resources and projects, we don't really allocate to Phoenix local artists. So I'm not sure. I know that there's rules and regulations that we can't give advantage to those local artists, but how can we actually prepare them to fill out the applications and to be prepared for upcoming RFPs? And I like to see in the future that we get closer to 70% of all those artists that are local. I mean, when we talk about Arizona artists, that's great, but I mean, we're even narrowing it down to Maricopa, maybe in the future, even Phoenix artists. Because I know that a lot of those individuals do donate a lot of their times to the schools and to our community. So I think it's time for us to give back and show off the local artists that we have. So I'm not sure if in a future agenda item, Mr. Chair, we can actually figure out a way of the scoring system, if there's a way to give more points legally.
We can probably,
Or,
I'll just add that to the agenda
All right,
next month.
perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. No, we have a motion. We need to move a motion. Okay. So can someone make a motion for the 2018-2023 Public Art Program?
So moved.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, the motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
We just have Parks Board agenda review.
Madam Chair, members of the subcommittee, today I'm here to just give you an overview of the upcoming May 24th Parks and Recreation Board agenda. As information item, we're going to be talking about the park ranger staffing. And again, to the point that was made earlier, we are fully staffed now with all of our allocated positions. This was the graduating class. We have 18 that graduated, which was our largest class ever. And so we're back to the level we were previously when we had several reductions over the years. The next slide, as you know, we did drop-in recreation during the teacher walkout, and we just wanted to let the Parks and Recreation Board know of the 24 sites, we had over 2,300 participants during the 6 days, which provided valuable opportunities for the the youth to be in safe and supervised places during those school days. Willow Park had changed the hours, and the community and the police department want us to keep those hours the same, which is during the school day, the park is closed, and then on weekends and after school, the park is open. They really feel that they've gotten control of some of the bad behaviors that have been going on in this park, and they wanted to keep the hours. So we'll be going forward to the Parks Board with the policy of maintaining those hours.
Which
During the
are
school,
they open? Okay, so is it open at 5 a.m. and shuts down at 8 a.m.? I mean, or
not open till after school, and then
so it's till
so
when?
it's closed in the morning until the kids get out of school, which is 2:33 sometimes,
So it opens at 3.
and then it closes at 10.
Oh, those are really limited hours.
And that's what the community wanted, and so they'll be there to talk to the Parks Board about the reasons why they want that. Again, they
Just
feel
thinking of a mom or someone wanting to go walk
right.
early in the morning or
Right.
6 in the morning now that the sun's out, walk the park and then
And there are times where, you know, if somebody wanted to reserve it and it was a reservable situation, that's a different situation, and we might be able to work with some of those parents that might have that kind of situation. We do over at El Oso have a mom walking group that they have that specific, that's what they can do, and then they have to leave.
Okay.
So they can't stay there. But again, part of the reason is for the safety, and the community
Right.
really feels that that's important to them. Modification of park rules related to scooters. Scooters are becoming more popular, and so we're going to go forward with a policy on this, that they can only be on skate plazas, and then one park that is really more of a plaza than a park, and so we'll identify which ones they can be at and which ones they cannot.
does the policy are the rules that they have to wear a helmet?
It is skate at your own risk, and so we do say that we encourage that, but we don't go out there and say you can't be here if you're not wearing a helmet or elbow pads or knee pads. We do encourage it. We don't have,
So let me ask this question then. If my child was, who likes to do this, does not have a helmet, which I have seen, and goes and jumps up on one of those,
Scooters?
no,
The ledges?
the platform, the ledges, comes down, falls, and hits her head, and is now in a concussion. Are you telling me that I could not sue the city for that incident?
well, you can sue anybody for anything, as we all know. However, it is skate at your own risk, and we have reviewed the rules with not only the law department but risk management. And because the facility is skate at your own risk, you probably wouldn't win that situation.
I don't know, Inger.
Well, we'll review it again with law, but we have reviewed all of our rules.
Only because,
Yeah.
yes.
Just as a follow-up, do you put signs up? You have,
There are signs.
so you have
yes.
warnings.
And
to
skate
people.
at your own risk, and we encourage you to wear these things.
I'm
but we do
guessing
not.
legal thinks that's a good
Yeah,
way to.
yeah. But we can review it again with legal and risk management, but our current rules have been approved by them. So again, this is really just a modification of what can be used. We'll go back and talk to them about that as well. And then finally, Choice Neighborhoods, we have a grant that we're working with the Housing Department on at Edison Park. And so we're just going to give an update to the Parks and Recreation Board on the status of that. They recently had the visit from HUD, and so they're expecting in the coming months to know the final on that as well. And that concludes. This is a picture of just a day at one of the centers, and you can see how many kids are there from last week's walkout. And with that, if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
So Inger, I really love your presentation. And let me tell you why. Because it's interactive, we can see pictures, and that's what I enjoy. I'm a visual person, so I have to see things. So I enjoyed seeing the agenda through the eye of a picture or through a camera. So
Thank you. We'll keep doing it.
yeah, thank you. Is there anything else that you would like to add to the future agenda items? I believe we don't have anybody for call to the public. Yes.
You know, I'd like to for our next meeting, if it's before the summertime, just summer programs that
Okay.
parents can use from our libraries to our parks, and just to inform people so that we as council members can actually have that information if people are calling us saying, hey, what can our children do this summer?
We skipped over one. It was in the information only, and it was a library summer reading program, so we'll make sure
Yeah.
we put it in.
Right. And if we can basically just have a list of
A
all
list.
those different programs that
Yeah.
are out there, from the arts to libraries to Parks and Rec. The other thing too is I like this committee to put on the future committee a definition of what is a community center. I mean, to me, a community center is our parks, our swimming pools, our senior centers, our libraries, Head Starts, our PAC centers and stuff like that. So I want to make sure that we have a clear definition of what that is. Because when I vote on stuff, I vote on just a brief definition, and I think we need to go into more details, because I think right now there's changes that are happening, and I just don't want our libraries, our swimming pools, our senior centers, our what I call community centers, any center that is open to the public to meet in open space. That's what I consider a community center, that we put a definition to that.
So my understanding, there is a definition of a community center. Am I hearing that you would like to review the definition
Correct.
and then possibly narrow it down into what exactly, or have a discussion? And I think legal has to be here
Right.
to have the discussion, because I think this has to deal with the petition that was submitted, and it has to do with a marijuana dispensary and a library, and I don't know whatever else is going on at
Right.
this moment, and regarding the definition of a community center.
Correct, because I just don't want to see in the future, we have one library now that's going to have a dispensary center within a couple 100 feet from it. I don't want other libraries to have that. I don't want to see our senior centers that have it within 100 feet. So I think we need to identify that. And then we
Okay.
have after-school programs, PAC programs and stuff like that. We have Head Start programs that are used for both education and community meetings and stuff like that. So I like to have something in detail. And the other thing is, I mean, for example, the light rail down South Central. I never knew that it was reduced from 4 lanes to 2 lanes. So there's a lot of details and reports, and for this one, there wasn't enough detail. So
Okay, no problem.
thank you,
And I believe meeting adjourned.
thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.